Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining our BingeBooks Book Club chat for December 2021. I am joined today with Sara and Tonya, who are both cozy mystery authors, and we're going to be talking all about Christmas cozy mysteries and holiday, winter holiday cozy mysteries. So I'm so excited. I'm going to let each of them introduce themselves. I can see readers are starting to fill the room. Sara, do you want to start? And can you introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your books, but also if they have not read you, where should they start as far as a Christmas cozy mystery?
Okay. Well, I'm Sara Rosett, and I write cozy mysteries and historical mysteries. And I live in Houston. I'm married. I have 2 kids. They're on the older end of the spectrum, age-wise. They're not at home anymore. And I love mysteries, and I've always read books, and mysteries have always been my favorite. And I love Christmas mysteries. That's kind of like catnip. I think cozy books are like, readers love those, but then there's like an extra special, ooh, it's a Christmas cozy. So my book that came out last year, Murder on a Midnight Clear, is a Christmas cozy. It's a historical set in the 1920s. And that's basically the like snowbound country estate on Christmas. And of course, there's a death that you have to, and there's a small group of suspects with interesting backgrounds, and you have to find out who did it. So that is a little bit about me.
And is that book part of a series or is it a standalone?
Yes, it's part of the series. The first book in the series is Murder at Archley Manor, all set in the early 1920s.
But they can jump in and read that without
Yes.
reading the other ones. Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sara.
Yeah.
Tonya, you want to go?
Sure. I'm Tonya Kappes, and I also write cozy mysteries. And I am from Kentucky, and I am married, and we have 4 grown boys. They're all in their 20s. They're also out of the home, like Sarah's children. So we're empty nest, and I write in my camper. And today we're going to talk about my camper cozy mysteries, which these are just 2 of the Christmas books. This one came out last year, and I had another previous to this. It's a Christmas cozy, and then this one just came out a few weeks ago. So and in this series, I'm like Sara, you can pick up at anywhere in the series, because the series, although it's based in the same town around the same characters in a campground, the mystery is always wrapped up. So it's always, you just are revisiting those characters. So everybody is wrapped up. The mystery's wrapped up. So when you go into, if you were to pick up just a Christmas cozy, then you'll get to learn those characters. And then you're like, oh, they're really fun. Or, I really like that. And like Sara, I believe that any really holiday cozy is always fun, and the extra added mystery to it just adds a sense to it. But then when you add the cozy town with all the cozy festivals that they have at Christmas, like they have a dog paw parade in the book, and so all the fun Santa Claus things that they do in the campground, and so all that adds to it, even though it's really a murder mystery, and murder isn't really that fun, but cozies make it a lot of fun to solve, and especially during the holidays. So
Yeah.
Now, in case they couldn't read the screen, can you give us the title of those 2 books?
Yes, this one is Eggnog, Extortion, and Evergreens.
That's so
And then the one that just released is Santa, Sunrises, and Suspicion. So
I love that. I love your camper mystery covers. We were chatting about it prior to it. They're so fun.
Thank
I
you.
hate camping, but I look at your covers. I'm like, hey, I could do that.
Yeah, well, my camper in here, it has a TV. I have a queen bed with a Tempur-Pedic mattress. I've got a stove, a microwave, a coffee machine, a bathroom with a shower.
Isn't that called glamping?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my husband took my kids when they were younger, obviously tent camping. I'm like, yeah, no. But I can do this.
Yeah.
So how often when you're writing do you go and take a nap? Because I don't know if I could have a bed that close to my office.
Oh, me? Oh, I take a nap every day. I do every day. I call it, my husband will call. He's like, oh, are you, I call it meditating. He's like, meditating. I'm like, yeah, I was meditating. But literally every day I will lay down, and I don't know what it is, but it's something in me that I'll lay down, and in 20 minutes I'll pop back up and be refreshed. Like it's innate in me. I don't have to set an alarm. It's just like a 20-minute. And I guess I've probably been doing it for so long that it's just part of it,
Yeah, I set a timer for 18 minutes. 18 minutes, it takes me 3 minutes to fall asleep. I have 15 minutes, and then I'm up. Longer than that, I'm in a coma, and you can't get me up, but
Yeah.
But returning to Christmas Cozy Mysteries, is there anything that you guys would say are like critical elements when you're creating a Christmas mystery, that you want to be sure to include to give readers all of those cozy feels?
I would say snow. You have to have a cold, you want that kind of atmosphere. You want it to feel cozy, and the decorations. I don't know necessarily that there's a lot of mystery elements that would have to be Christmassy, but I think it's like all the extras. You want all the elements that you think of and go, oh, that's so nice and Christmassy.
So the food, music, all of the scents.
Yeah, she turns on the radio and hears the Christmas music, but then a clue, she passes by a clue. I'm big with the festivals. Like in Kentucky, we have a lot of small town festivals here. And so I always make sure that there's a festival, a tree lighting ceremony, the wood burning fireplace, all those traditional things. Like, and sometimes I'll even like throw like a little theater, a little acting theater in there, a local play. That's in the Santa book. They're doing a local theater, and someone's found some feet are sticking out of the poinsettia styled Christmas tree. So, they're going to a festival, but then everybody's excited. Everybody's got their hot chocolate, and they went by Santa Village, and then they go to the poinsettia tree, and there's some legs. So you get all the feels, and then you get the
Yeah. I tried to work in like Christmassy things into the clues in the Murder on the Midnight Clear. So I tried to think of, and it's got crossword puzzles play a part in it, and so it's like they've got a Christmas crossword that has clues.
Oh, that's
And
so good.
and then the Christmas crossword has Christmas carols as the theme. So I was trying to like, pull it all together in a way that mystery readers would like. So if you can include stuff like that, I think they really enjoy it.
Is it one crossword puzzle that like the entire book and there are different clues throughout? Or
yes, and it's not like the whole mystery, but it does play a part in the mystery. So, I'm not a crossword person, but I had to make one, to make it make sense. And I was like, oh, this is hard.
I love that.
I did that once in one of my books, like at the beginning of every chapter, because the two of the characters love playing crosswords. I had a clue, but I didn't put the answer, and that was a big mistake.
Oh no, because what was it, right?
Yeah, people would I got a lot of like annoyed emails about it. So finally I put a key in the back that had all of the answers, but they weren't even happy about that because many of them didn't discover the key. So Sara, you talked about like the dangerous element or the murder element doesn't have to be tied in, but if there's a way, I guess what I'm asking is, do you write a plot of just that could be in any setting and then you put it in a holiday setting, or is typically that plot fits well or best in a Christmas?
Yeah, I think usually for me, they pretty much are linked because like a lot of the clues and things are related to Christmas. And so like it wouldn't make sense any other time of the year. But I try and integrate it if I can and have, something from the season related to the mystery, kind of interweave those two together. It doesn't necessarily have to be that way, but that's what I always try and do.
Is it the same with you, Tonya?
I don't like mine in my particular books. Like I always have a mystery that's not tied to the holiday. It's just the setting that's the holiday, and then the murder takes place at some point with the holiday setting. Because I just know I've never done that, but that's a good idea. I might steal Sarah's idea.
Go for it.
But no, I've never used any of that for. It was just I knew I just like to write holiday cozies. I like to read them, so I thought it'd be fun to write them, and so it's just still a mystery, but it's just in that season.
That makes perfect sense. And talking about that made me realize for many of you, I don't know what your production timeline is, but the chances are probably high if you're releasing a book, just before Christmas, you're probably writing this like in the heat of the summer. And
Yes.
is it hard to capture? Because I know right now, like, oh, I would love to dive in and write, a Christmas mystery, but I don't know how I'd feel about writing that in, June. So when are you writing a book now for release next year, or are you writing it like in the middle of the summer?
Well, I wrote Murder on a Midnight Clear during the summer because, I knew it was the next book in the series. And I knew that if I wanted to release it, I needed to release it that fall because, timelines, I didn't want to hold it. It just seemed better to release it in the fall. And oh my goodness, it was hard to write it when it was, in a way, it was hard because it was like, here, I live in Houston, so it's like 98 degrees and like 110% humidity or something like that. It's crazy. So it's really hot and muggy. So it doesn't feel like Christmas. But then like once I get into the manuscript, I'd be like, oh, this is nice. Like imagining the snow and the cold. There's probably like a lot of descriptions of how cold and icy and chilly it is because that's really what I was missing. So yeah, that one I wrote during the summer and it turned out to be kind of a fun thing to do. But yeah, it's hard. It's a little hard to get started for me when it's not that weather.
Yeah. I do write. I did write it in the summer as well, just because of my production schedule. I want to make sure because for me, my holiday cozy comes out obviously before the month because they love to read them. And my readers, I've even told them, they said, we just like them all year long. And so they don't care when you release it. And I'm like, well, to me, it feels like you release it at that holiday, right? But so what I do is I do writing sprints when I write. And so I use YouTube and they have, so I'll set a timer for 25 minutes and I pull up the YouTube. It'll be like a cozy, cafe or a winter cafe or winter Christmas cafe or cozy fire. And it like crinkles and pops and it has Christmas music like playing in the background. And so I'll put that on. And it does kind of get you in the mood to write when you hear Christmas music. And luckily I write fast so I can get a first draft done in like 15 or 16 days. And so I don't have to, I can listen to Christmas music for 15 or 16 days straight. And when I'm editing it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just add more Christmas to it. By that time I've already written it, so I don't need the sprinting. Yeah. And so, and then like right now I'm kind of like, oh, it's Christmas. As you can see, I usually have a Christmas tree up in here and I don't even have that in here yet. I mean, it's like a week away. But yeah, so I also write ahead of time. So like I've recently just finished plotting my next year's Halloween book. So,
wow.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, BingeBooks so each week we populate the site with fresh titles, and I kept seeing all these Christmas books popping up in September, October,
yeah.
and I kept being like, gosh, it feels weird putting, a tinsel book or something like that up at Halloween time or whatever. And then I was like, oh, it's Thanksgiving. It still seems too early. But I see so many releases coming out, and that's probably makes sense. Plus, you have a very small window, like, so people probably want, and you probably have people like me. I was ready to put my tree up like November 1st. And everybody said, no, you have to wait until Thanksgiving. Yeah. So they want to jump into it too. Awesome. And that made me also wonder, so now you're in the Christmas time, obviously. So do you get ideas for books or ideas for settings or, oh, I want to be sure to do a gingerbread cooking scene or something like that, and then you just write them down and stick them aside for later?
I don't do that because like I said, I'm already in another season in my head. And so I'm not even worrying about like Christmas. I'm already writing the next books, and I'm also I'm plotting that book, but I'm writing a book for the summer. So I'm already thinking about the beach and so I am going to Cabo in January. So I'm like, oh, that's going to be nice. So I can come back and edit that book at that time so I can, put beach stuff in there. But But no, I don't. What happens when I write is I'll get ideas, and as I'm editing and think, oh, that would have been a cute scene there, but oh, I can use that next year. And so, like, I'll put it in my file for next year. But I don't do it right now. No.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't do it much either. I do have an idea that I would like to do like a separate series just set around the holidays, but I just don't have time to write it right now. So it's like I'm not letting myself think about it too much because then I'll get all drawn into that. So I try and put that on the back burner, like you were saying. So maybe, 2023 or 2024, maybe I can do that.
Would it be like each book's a different holiday, or they're
No,
all?
I was going to do
Christmas
all
books in those
Christmas.
series? Okay.
Yeah, like a limited, like a 3-book, like a trilogy,
Aw.
and just kind of see how it does. And then, if it does well, maybe do more. But yeah, that'd be a long way off.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, I have that. I was just telling y'all earlier that I have a new series coming out in 2022 that nobody knows about. So if anybody's listening that's a reader of mine, they're going to be like, oh, wow. But it is set specifically in holidays. And it's called A Holiday Cozy Mystery. And the tagline is called Celebrate Good Crimes. So they're all going to be released during just holidays only. So
That
did we
was
leave that
awesome.
on Sandra?
I think so. Well, so which holiday is your series going to start with?
Well, I don't know. I've got 7 books already from my cover artist because she's like biting at the bit at like, when are we going to be able to show these? And I'm like, oh, we can't show them yet. And so I don't know. So I can start really at any holiday.
Yeah.
And I might hold off until like Mother's Day or Father's Day. So we'll see.
Yeah.
So
That's
who
good.
does your cover? I mean, on your cover, Sarah, like your Christmas cover, can you hold that up for me again?
Yeah.
And so when you
That might be
do,
better.
what did you tell your cover artist that you wanted specifically on your Christmas
Well,
cover?
what I did was I went to just the internet, Google, and just did an image search for like country manners. And I found something kind of similar to this. And I liked the gate
Beautiful.
thing. And so I just
Very
found I found a bunch of images that I liked. And I just sent that and I said, hey, I want it to be like a snowbound country estate. And hey, we're talking about covers.
That's what my own question.
I'm so glad you guys. I was like, I don't think they can hear or see me. So yeah.
So I asked her about her cover, and
Yeah.
she came up with that
So
because I love that beautiful
Yeah.
orange gate that she has, and then I have like a wisp of snow.
Yeah. So I told it, I just found some images online and just sent them to my cover artist. And I said, I want it to be snowbound country estate. I love the gate and it needs to have snow. And because the title is Murder on Midnight Clear, I was like, it needs to be at night. So I thought he did a good job of like making it seem a little bit darker, but not like black.
But it's very like it pops of color. Like, is that what color is her purse? Is that blood green? What? Hold it up. Does she have a purse? Uh-oh.
Oh.
Did y'all lose me or Sarah?
No, I can hear you. Sarah froze.
But I like that she has like that pop of color on her. Because I was going to ask her about, because it's at midnight, because you don't usually, a lot of people say like, don't do the dark covers.
Mm-hmm.
And as you can see, this one is more of a darker color and I liked it, but obviously that does stand out,
Yeah, but it is also, maybe it's got the pink, so I don't know if it would appeal to male readers as much. I like the Christmas tree you have on your.
I do love it. And here's the one from the previous year, which is super cute.
Oh, that is so cute.
I was asking her about that because when I do my covers, because I like a lot of my readers, they will buy off of a cover. Like, and as much as we hate to say it, oh, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. Well, they do. And
it's the reason it's a saying, because everybody
does. There's a reason it's a saying. You're right. And so when I work with my cover artist, I'm like, okay, well, we come up with the name first, because obviously with cozy covers, the names are very important. And like Sarah's, she was saying that her cover, the darkness was set because of the midnight. So when you come up with the punny titles, I wanted obviously something with sunrises and Santa. So that's why we did the little Santa hat. So I didn't necessarily want, and then of course we wanted it to be almost like.
Is that the only Christmas element, the Santa hat?
So there's a little Christmas tree.
Oh, there he is. Yeah. Okay.
And so, because you don't want a cover that does not look like, obviously what your title is. And so, like I was saying with Sarah's title, it was a dark, it's not dark, but it had that midnight, and you can clearly see it's a dark cover. And I wanted to know how much input she had, or if she had all the input, on, what she did and everything. So are you
were
there,
saying,
Sarah?
yeah, I think you're frozen, Sarah. Can you hear us? Oh man, it's the Christmas goblins.
It is the Grinch.
It's the Grinch. I'm gonna move my Grinch away.
There we go.
You said, oh, there you are. She was asking Sarah about, I think she froze again. She was asking about on your cover, the little purse, what if it had a color, but I think we lost her again.
Yeah.
But you said you start with your titles, but like eggnog, extortion, and
Evergreens.
Evergreens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I knew that I wanted the extortion part. So you can see with my titles that that that's going to be part of the crime.
Yeah.
And then like suspicion, there was like a lot of suspicion, and like it was based around like lying and things like that. And so it's going to be something about that. So I always have like an eggnog drink. I have recipes in here. So it always has something, because cozy readers love recipes. So all of my books have recipes in them. And so I'm not sure if Sarah's does. But so what happens is that when I my cover artist do my cover, then we come up with the title. And then we kind of come up with the elements. But really, honestly, I'll just tell her, oh, these are some possible titles. And then she'll come back with the cover and another title and say, well, I really didn't like that title, but I like this title and I like this cover.
And it fits better. Yeah. Right? On the cover.
And, yeah. So, and actually the first 3 books in this series was a pre-made series. And
it was
from my cover artist. And so she had them up for auction, and I'm like, those babies are mine. And so I like literally had my debit card all in when the auction went live and got them. And so that's how the covers came about with the camper series. And we just 26 books later, I have 7 more in the hopper for this coming year. So
wow.
Yeah. And I said, people are like, are you going to do every letter of the alphabet? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I just like the titles.
X and Q would be real tough. Rosemary is referring to recipes. She says, yes, we do. They are a bonus to the story. So how do recipes work? Do you have to create your own from scratch because you're publishing them? So to avoid copyright issues, or how does that work?
So I come from a family that cooks a lot. And so we do a lot of Southern cooking, which I'm sure you know about all that, because you have some Southern there. And so I saw JD put, you better watch out or your accent's going to come out, Alice.
My twang. Yeah.
I know people say, oh, you're Southern. I'm like, no, it's a twang. It's a twang. It's not Southern. But anyways, and so a lot of the recipes, some of my readers submit recipes and sign a form. And so, well, if I'm looking for a recipe for that, and then I put their name obviously in there. Sometimes they get a part in the book, but something that's not reoccurring, so it's a reoccurring thing. And then my family have a lot of recipes, like a lot of bourbon recipes, and some crazy, Kentucky concoction. We also have a family still for moonshine. So sometimes I might put a little something in there about moonshine, but we come up with all of them. Sometimes I cook them and put them, I make recipe cards for my readers, and things like that, so they can bake them at home. And so we do a lot of testing and,
like testing of the food.
Yeah, like so my readers last year, we couldn't do it this year because I'm in between houses, I'm building. And so what we usually do is they submit a Christmas cookie recipe that are going to be featured in the books, and then I make all of them. So last year I think I made 60, and then I had my 4 boys and my husband and my mom test them, and they came up with the best 3. And then
We're talking about recipes.
so then the first one actually won, and she won this big Tonya Kappes library of books.
Oh, I love that.
And stuff. And then, but the bonus was that my readers got on my newsletter, got the actual recipe book that we put together for free. So yeah. So we were talking about recipes, but Sara, I was asking about your cover. I want to go back to that.
Okay.
She's stuck on that.
Is that like your Papa Green?
That's her purse. Yeah, you're right.
It's so
Yeah.
And it matches the bottom.
yeah. That's what I was saying, that all those elements on that Christmas cozy is so pretty.
Yeah, I think so. And it's the colors. I think if it has either the sparkly look or the green and red, it's that kind of readers are like, oh yes, that's, makes them all excited because they know it's a Christmas cozy.
And it's pretty.
Yeah. And I like your Santa one because it's the pink tones. That's unusual, but I really like it.
Unique. That's what we were just talking about.
Thank you. Yeah. So it was just because it's a sunrise, and in Kentucky, I don't know about you guys, but we have the most beautiful pink ribbon sunrises.
Yeah.
And so we talked about that. And so I'm like, yeah, because they're all set in an actual place in Kentucky, the Daniel Boone National Park.
Yeah.
And so I said, oh yeah, we definitely want to do that with that title. And so she did a really good job. But thank you. Yeah, it's unusual. A lot of people say, don't do white covers. I've done white covers and they've done fine.
Yeah.
We only have 4 minutes left. So anyone watching, if you have any questions, I know we got a question for Sara that came in, but it was right before we had technical issues. Sherry says, how long have you been writing cozy mysteries, and how many cozy mysteries do each of you have, if you know the number?
Well, my first cozy came out in 2006. And so I've been writing quite a while.
15 years.
Yeah. And let's see, I think I have 31 books now, getting close to 32, I think. So somewhere around 30.
And I published my first cozy in 2011. And I actually just published my 181st book, but that's because I write all the time and I have no life.
What? Sorry. Did you say 181st?
Yeah, I'm 181. Yeah.
181. Oh my Lord.
It's ridiculous.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
It's amazing. It is.
Yeah, that is so impressive. So Jason says, Sara, I've read you've used Dictation for your writing. As an aspiring writer who has used Dictation in my own writing, I'm curious to hear about your process.
Okay, so Dictation and I have an interesting relationship. I like it because it helps me get the words down quickly, but I feel so awkward when I do it. But I make myself do it because then I can have those words on the page and I can edit them. But they're not very good. And I just use it to kind of help me get a jump start to get words on the page. And then I'll edit, and it keeps me away from my desk and my computer a little bit more, saves my wrist a little bit. But it's really messy and bad when it first starts out. I don't know, Tonya, do you use Dictation or not?
I do. And so every morning I walk about 45 minutes, and I'll dictate the scene that I'm going to write that day. And usually that gives me about 4,000 words to go in and chop and fix and do. So it's pretty good, but mostly it's dialogue for me. And then I just use that as like bare bones. And then I sprinkle in the meat while I'm redoing it that day. So, but I do it through my phone, and I don't use the software, and I use the memo on my iPhone, and I usually use my earbuds, and then I come back and I start getting ready for the day, and I just lay it next to my computer and hit play and then dictate in my document on my Word. And while I'm getting ready, it gets put in, and all 40 minutes. And then I come back after getting ready and it's all there, and I clean it up and I'm pretty done for the day. So I don't have a software though.
Yeah, I don't use a software either. I use a app, Easy Voice Recorder now, and it does the transcription inside the app. It's not as good as like Dragon, but it's good enough. And my dictation is so messy anyway. It's not like it's real clean. I need to go in, and I have all these sentences that I'll be like halfway through and then I just stop. I'm like, new line, just move on.
Yeah. And that's what we do, right? Because you don't want to spend your time of stopping and but yeah, because then we get a new idea. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Do you use different voices for each character, like if you're doing dialogue? Or
No, I had
I'm
one reader.
imagining Sonia like power walking and like having like 9 a group conversation, someone being like, "That's the crazy woman who talks to
Oh,
herself."
well, so I do walk on a golf course in the morning, so I'm always on there with workers. And so the one guy did stop me one day. He's like, "You're always on the phone." I said, "Oh, I'm dictating." And I'm
You're
like,
like,
"Oh, I'm a writer." He's like, "Oh, my wife wants to write a book." Blah, 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 blah. So now I see him every morning. And he's like, and I'm like,
How's the books going?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
good
I
stuff.
had,
But
yeah,
yeah,
I had one reader ask me if I dictate in a British accent because my historicals are set in England, and I was like, oh no, mine are. It had that Texas twang in there.
I had a very brief stint with dictation, and there's this spot where I was dictating. Then someone's like, my husband's like, "Who are you talking to? Like, what?" Like, he thought I was talking to him, and so then, like in the middle of it, there's this screen where I'm like, "I'm dictating."
It's all caps.
And then
yeah. And I have a Patreon account, and my Patreons love the dictation tapes because I'll just put them up as little bonuses. Oh yeah. And so,
Wow.
and they'll hear my voice and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I love it." And so I use those for like every week I'll put one up like, "Oh, this is a scene that's coming out in another book to come," or I'll hold some, and when the book comes out or right before the book comes out, then I'll say this is a scene back when, so because I don't delete them.
Great idea.
And so I'll do that. Yeah.
Wow.
So I never delete content. Never.
I'm imagining 181 books worth of dictation. So that's
Oh no, actually, I just started dictating about a year ago. So
okay.
yeah. Yeah,
Well,
during the whole COVID thing, just so I can get out and walk and move around instead of having to sit and type. That's when I started dictating.
So we are already past time, so I appreciate you guys' patience. 2 final questions. By the way, we do have a giveaway. We're giving away 3 lucky winners will win books from both a book from Sara and a book from Tonya. So if you RSVP'd, thank you so much for RSVPing for this event. We will contact the winners by email today. So check your inbox, see if you get an email from us today with that. And just to wrap up, last 2 questions. Sherry wants to know if you're running out of ways to kill people.
No.
I mean, I kill people with liquid nicotine and shampoo. I have killed people through fingernail polish. There's so many ways. Like currently, right now, I'm killing someone with an oxygen. When you're in the hospital and you have oxygen bubbling behind you. I mean, it's so easy because I've been in the hospital with someone recently to slip something in there. And I'm like, so I'm killing somebody that way currently, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah. I find that, and since I'm doing the historicals, I'm finding new things that were only available then, or that were a lot easier to get then.
Yeah.
And one of my books, I found out that people who had asthma, they used to smoke cigarettes, this special blend of cigarettes, because they thought it would help them. And I was like, oh my goodness. And the stuff that was in it was not healthy. And I was like, okay, that's going in the book.
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah. So no, just crazier ways.
Yeah.
And the final question, Sara, what is your greatest challenge writing historical cozy mysteries? How do you research? Is it easier to kill somebody? I mean, I'm assuming it was easier to kill someone back then than it is now.
Yeah, I think so. Because now we're so monitored. We have so many things that, like our phones, they're always in like toll tags, where you are at all times. But, and I think the investigative techniques were good, but not like they are now, like no DNA and stuff like that. So it's a little bit easier. But the challenge for research is like, right about the 1920s, there's a lot out there. And like, I could spend hours and hours researching. So, and there's like newspaper articles I can read. And I like to read books from that time, like fiction books from that time, to give me ideas about how people talked and what they did, how they spent their Christmases. That's one thing I did to research the Christmas book. I read a bunch of Christmas mysteries set in the 20s so that I could see kind of how they celebrated. And, it's for me, it's like knowing when to stop. And a lot of times I'll do a bunch of research and I'll start writing, and then there's always something else, so there's another rabbit hole to go down. So I have to continually pull myself back.
Yeah, I can see that. I wouldn't have even thought about that because everything, cooking Christmas cookies is a different process. Yeah. Do they have lights on the tree? No, I guess.
They had
candles.
They had candles, and they had the lights. The electric lights were kind of the newer thing. And safer, but not everybody had them.
So. We got electrocuted and plugging in something.
I know. I was just going, there's another idea. Let me write that down.
Tonya's thinking of all sorts of ways to cook.
And I'm not, I hate research, so if I can't make it up, I'm not there. So I'll have some ideas and you can look it up for you.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. But before we go, I just want to say the last time I talked to Sara, she was building her gorgeous new office, and the ladder turned out beautiful.
Over there.
I love the dark bookshelf.
No, it's gorgeous.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. I do. I know. I'm sorry. We're over time, but last question, because I meant to ask you guys this, and I know so many readers want to know what is your favorite holiday cozy mystery? If you were going to recommend one that is not one of your own, but that's another author. Oh no, Tonya's like crap.
I always go to Little Women because I know it wasn't always set in Christmas, but I think that book is just so timeless, even timeless for today. And so, and I reread it every year at Christmas. Yeah. And I'm like, I know that is so basic, but that's just me.
It's a classic though.
Yeah.
I would say probably one of the very first cozies I ever read was, it had a different name when it was out then, but now they've rebranded it as I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget it. Mistletoe Murder, because it's a new title by Leslie Meyer, Meier. You know that? And so, that was like one of the first cozies I ever read. And it's got all these Christmas elements in it. It's lots of fun. It's in Maine, in this little town. And this woman works part-time at a catalog fulfillment, online, takes orders and stuff, and she gets involved in a mystery there, and it's all about her family and her friends in the little town. And I just love that.
Good. Yeah.
It's a long series, so if you love that, there's like 20 something books.
She has a lot of books too.
Yes, she does. I don't think she has 180 books.
I was about to say that's like we're gonna get you a special award or something for your
no. I'm not even writing half of those series anymore. Well, more than that. Yeah.
Well, thank you all. Once again, can you just show your covers? I know Murder on a Midnight Clear, and then perfect. Eggnog, Extortion, and Evergreens. So if you haven't read both of those books, both of these women are fantastic authors. So please dive in. To the 3 winners who won, congratulations, happy holidays. And to everyone else, thank you so much. We hope you join us at future Binge Books author chats. You can check out more at bingebooks.com. Thank you guys. Thank you, everyone.
Merry Christmas. Bye.